Millions of people in Africa still lack access to electricity, and that's as energy shortages worsen and, of course, prices of gasoline at the pump continue to soar across the globe. Now, according to World Bank estimates, nearly $20 billion is required for universal electrification across Sub-Saharan Africa. While in Uganda, a first-of-its-kind integrated energy project is ending energy poverty by delivering faster and cheaper universal electrification. The utility's 2.0 Towakwe project brought together Umeme, which is the largest electricity distributor in Uganda, and 3 off-grid solar energy developers. It was commissioned in June 2021 and aims to reduce connection costs by 50% and connect 24% of Uganda's population with access to grid electricity at 3 times the speed of the traditional grid extension. Well, let's now find out more about this first of its kind project from Carolina Pan. She is the Power for All Director of Research. Great to have you with us on the show, Carolina. Now, let's start off with the fact that you say projects of this kind are the most efficient way to deliver the SDG 7 goal and, of course, end energy poverty in the region. Tell us more about what makes an integrated energy approach so efficient, especially for Africa.
Sure, and thank you, Uche, so much for having me here. It's a pleasure. Let me start first by saying that Power for All is a global campaign focused on accelerating the end of energy poverty through decentralized renewable energy solutions. And one of those is actually our integrated energy approach, which we're currently testing, as you said, in Uganda. And this is essentially a partnership between the utility company and the mini-grid developer. And what's great and so efficient about this is that it leverages the comparative advantages of the two to deliver faster and cheaper electrification. So essentially, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the cheap access to capital, the large consumer base, the scale, but on the other hand, you're getting this, technology-driven, data-driven approach from the mini-grid developer. But most importantly, this consumer-centric approach that develops consumption, because that's the key to the business model's work, is that we do a lot of demand stimulation through appliance finance programs.
Well, before we get into the business model, let's talk a bit about this first of its kind project in Uganda. Now, we know Uganda, the Ministry of Energy there says that it will take over 10 million connections in order for the country to achieve universal access. So give us an update on the progress of that project and some insight into how it's changing energy access for Uganda's population.
Right. So as you said before, also, Uganda is a very particular context with only 24% of the people having access to the grid and less than half of the country, about 41%, actually having access to any form of energy at all. So in this context, yes, to achieve universal electrification, we would need about 10 million new connections. If we do the business as usual approach, like the grid extension approach, that's estimated to cost about $7 billion. And those costs are very unlikely to ever be recovered because of what I was saying earlier. There's a very low consumption base. These are consumers that either do not know how to use energy or that can't afford to buy any appliances. So that's why this integrated approach that delivers electrification at half the connection costs and 3 times the pace is so important and could be a game changer, not just in Uganda, but for the entire region.
And as you just said, it's not business as usual. It actually the project cuts costs by 50%, as you just said. So give us more insight into what the business model then of an integrated energy approach looks like.
So for the business models, we have explored what this partnership could bring in terms of reducing costs and increasing benefits from the supplier's perspective, right? Because if this is to be scaled, it has to be a profitable business. So in terms of costs, we've been looking at CapEx, capital expenditures, those upfront costs that you need, to pay for every time you extend access, and also operating expenses. So by combining the advantages of the grid and the mini-grid developer, we get to reduce the capital expenditures, we get to reduce the operating expenditures. And on the benefit side, what we've seen is an increase in the customer lifetime value. This is the measure of how much a customer is likely to consume throughout their entire lifetime. And we've seen that through the integrated energy approach, this is about 4 times as large as in the business as usual approach, meaning that this is a much more profitable business. And this is mostly thanks to the appliance finance programs that we're running.
And of course, a major part of this method is collaborations between centralized and decentralized technology. So give us, given the fact that it seems like a viable way to go about it, why isn't it the norm in Africa right now? What are the challenges to setting it up? Why aren't we seeing it in more regions across the continent?
This is a great question, and we would love for it to be the norm. This is a very new approach, and this involves, a lot of cooperation from, in this case, the utility company, a lot of willingness to, undertake new projects and to innovate a lot and to change the way they do things and they do business. And also, we need a lot of support from the regulatory agency. We were very lucky that in Uganda, we had a very supportive regulatory environment that enabled this to happen, as well as UMEME being super willing to, undertake these new type of projects. And we've seen a lot of success. But, given that most of the countries in the region have universal energy targets in the medium run, this could actually be the key to their success. So we do hope that governments are more open to this new idea.
Well, we are certainly watching. Thank you so much, Carolina, for that great insight. That's Carolina Pan. She is the Director of Research at Power for All.